Hey, welcome back to the Daddykirbs farm. Today we're in the kitchen looking at a set of cast iron pots and pans that we recently found at a yard sale. Over the last 10 years or so, we've been transitioning to using more cast iron pots and pans, but we've never restored any. All of them that we've received have been in pretty decent shape, so we just use them and season them, clean them up after each use. But recently we found this set at a yard sale. They looked mostly like this. It's pretty rough, rusty. They're not absolutely terrible, but they're not great. Not something that you could just use. So we decided we would go ahead and dive into the process of learning how to restore these pots and pans. These are the ones that we've already done. You can see they have a nice finish on them, and we've actually been using them. There's lots of great resources online to show you how to do this, and some of the sites and videos go into a lot of detail, and they're wonderful. So this one is going to be more about a simple step-by-step and also one of encouragement. We kind of didn't want to do this because we weren't confident to do it, but now that we have, we realize it's not that tough. So I want to share this with you so that you can be confident and maybe try your first restoration as well. The first step is really just to clean them up with soap and water. I know lots of people will say don't ever put soap, but we're going through the restoration process, so this little bit of soap's not going to hurt anything. This particular set came with these wooden handles that we would just unscrew and remove and put them back on when the process is complete. Now these are a little rusty on the inside, so we're going to fill it up with water. Put just a little bit of soap in there and give it a good scrub. Now the reason there's a towel in the bottom of the sink is that we found that the cast iron pots and pans can really scar up the bottom of the sink, especially these white sinks. So it's just to help protect the sink a little bit. Nothing special here, we're just using a scratch pad, making sure we get all the surfaces, get that loose stuff off. The outside's really not that bad, just a little bit of rust. So we'll rinse well, and we'll just use a towel to get some of that water off. There's no need to get it perfectly dry because the next step actually involves soaking it in vinegar and water. We're going to use a bucket to put our water and vinegar mixture. The inside is worse, so we're going to put the vinegar on the inside, put a little bit on the outside. This is regular, just 5% vinegar that you would purchase at any of the grocery stores or big box stores. And we're going to mix this about 50-50 with water. And let that fill up, put a little bit on the outside. We are going to completely submerge this and let it sit for about 24 hours. We do have this second pan. It would be really nice if they both fit side by side in this bucket. They don't, so we're going to let it sit down inside that other pan. And we'll come back in about 24 hours or so and look at the next step. It has been about 48 hours. I told you 24, but yesterday was Sunday and we didn't get anything done. So we're going to check this. Not too bad. Still a little bit. We're going to scrub it and see if some of that comes off. This one was worse, so let's see how it looks. So way better than it was, but still, let's scrub, see how much of that comes off. We might soak it another day. I would strongly suggest that you wear something that you're not worried about getting ruined, because the vinegar water with the rust in it, the oxidation, it does stain. So even when I dump this out, I'm going to dump it out outside and not down the sink because I don't want to stain the white sink. We're just going to fill it up with warm water. Let's see how much of this we can get off with a scratch pad. Already, that looks pretty good. We might soak it another day, maybe not. If I can get this one looking like that, we might just be ready to move on to the next step. That vinegar water did a pretty nice job of lifting that rust. And now we're just scraping it off. Yep, I think that worked. We got just a little bit up here around the handle. And then I'll show you how we dry it off and prepare it for that first seasoning. We're going to go ahead and preheat the oven to 450. Make sure there's nothing in there. And these are ready to dry out. I'm going to just take the surface water off with a towel. Do these things with that stack of junk towels. Not Mama's Good towels. And we're going to heat it up on the stove. Once that sits on the stove for a little bit, it'll get nice and warm and evaporate all the water that's in it. This one's dry. We just turn that burner off and bring it over here. Let it cool off. We're going to coat this with a high temperature oil. The little research I did said grapeseed oil is one of the better ones, so that's what I've been using. You see it's mostly gone. So I'm just going to pour some of my grapeseed oil over here into my dish to get ready for that next step of coating the pan. They're both still pretty warm. This one's very hot. I'm not touching it yet. I'm just going to dip my paper towel in here. It does not have to go on in huge amounts. So we're just going to start here on the bottom. Give it a good coat. You don't want to leave it sit out in the air for very long after doing your vinegar rinse and then drying it off, because it will start to oxidize again. You can see a little bit of that already. We're going to go through this process 3 times, maybe 4, just depends. The other pans, I think I did those 3 times. Just a good even coat over the whole thing. Don't miss any spots. Just going to give it a little wipe down with a dry paper towel. Okay, that looks pretty good. I'm going to do that one in just a minute when it cools off. It's almost ready. The oven is not quite to 450, but I'm going to go ahead and slide this in. We're putting it in upside down. I went ahead and put a piece of foil on the bottom in case there's any oil or anything that drops. And that is the first application. 450 degrees for 45 minutes. It's been 45 minutes. We're going to just pull these out, see how they look. Look good. We're still going to do another seasoning, probably 3 times total, but they look a lot better. We'll let those cool down just a little bit before we oil them again. That second coat is just like the first one. We're just going to put a nice even coat all over it. Wipe some of that excess off. We don't want to use too much. And that one's ready to slide back in. We'll come back and take a look at it again after the second coat. Here we are at the end of round 2. Same as last time. I'll let them cool off a little bit and then get them done one more time. And that's after 3. So this video was really meant to encourage you to give this a try. We're not experts. We've only done this many times with these here. And I was always intimidated to do this process because it always seemed like a really big deal. So I wanted to just give you a simple look at how we accomplish this and that you can do it too. Thanks for hanging out with me here on the Daddykirbs farm in the kitchen. Thank you so much for watching. I'll talk to you soon.